Morning, everybody. Let's see here. Make sure my audio is coming through okay. Is it sounding okay, everybody in the chat? Okay. Hey, guys. How's everybody doing? We have Daniel, better known as Roddie around these parts, on the channel this morning.
Hello, hello.
I'm excited. We've got nonsense. But I mean, that's what they expect here. So, Daniel, just for anybody who doesn't watch our actual play, and just watches the morning show, they may not know you all that well. Why don't you give us a quick introduction?
Hello, my name's Daniel. Nice to meet everybody. On the Monday night show, I play as Roddie, the Goatman archaeologist rogue, uh, with a vengeance for Bert Poole. Uh,
It's important to the character.
it's one of the main central aspects. I wasn't planning on it originally, but then that opening scene happened, and I've never had such strong motivation for a character before. All of my characters have always been like, yeah, let's just see what the vibe is, have a little fun, and
Yeah.
like do some cool stuff. No, no, no. Roddie has a goal, and it's to kill a man named Bert Poole.
What's funny is when we made our characters, that like Burt Poole was sort of a, yeah, he's a little incompetent, but he's an ally. He's somebody that like I've trusted for a while. And then I started writing out your opening scene, and I was like, I need to figure out a way for Roddy to have been like arrested with the rest of them. And I could just have like you fail, but I didn't want to make it be like you messed up right at the
Yeah.
beginning. That's that's
Plus, my
that's Billy's shtick, was that Billy failed horribly.
also like
Um,
my first roles were
your roles were
really good.
incredible right off the
Yeah, I
bat.
was like, oh my god,
Yeah,
thank you, alchemy.
yeah. So I wanted to make sure that we were giving you a backstory that like felt organic to your character. I was like, okay, well, how can I make it so that you have like a genuine reaction to whatever it's gonna be? And I was like, well, you gave me Bert. Bert's much more fun to me as a semi-villain than he is as a like a recurring bumbling ally.
Yeah.
And then I looked at the like other write-ups, and Davy Jones had also put Bert into like his connections with Rad, and their connection was hostile. So I was
Yeah.
like, oh, this is gonna work real
Oh,
real well.
it works so
Um,
well. It fills me with so much hatred.
Noelle is in the chat and heard me say that failure is Billy's shtick. um, Noelle, I'm sure that you will roll better in the future, but in the meantime, you did stand on the back of a horse and get knocked unconscious for it. Um,
That
Bert,
was one of the funniest moments, hands down. That was so good.
Davy Jones says Bert attracts hostility.
He's got negative
He
vibes.
does. He has bad vibes.
Bad
The
vibes,
the
Bert.
vibes for Bert are not good.
One could call him rancid.
Rancid. Bert has rancid vibes. Hashtag rancid vibes. Um, oh man, things happen. It's true. Good snowy night. That's very true. It is great to be back on this beautiful Thursday morning. Daniel, what is the weather like there?
The weather's pretty good right now. It rained a bunch yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
so it's not. I mean,
I
it's
feel like
Florida,
the,
so
the
it's
the
still
East Coast has
hot.
had some sort of gross rainy weather recently.
Yeah, yeah. Yesterday was real bad,
Yeah.
but this morning seems really nice. It's nice and chilly in my house. I have
Mm-hmm.
not been outside yet, and the sky looks clear. And I don't want to walk outside because it's gonna be so fucking hot, and I don't want to sweat right now.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Florida.
Nobody is. There's a reason why everybody dunks on Florida 24/7.
I saw a TikTok yesterday that was like, what if we just put all of the bad people, all the like bad vibe people, we'll just put them all in Florida, and then we can just like dig around the border of Florida because it's only connected at
Yeah,
that one side. We'll just dig along it, and then we'll just push it out to sea. Like,
I'm
is it
very
such a
okay with
loss?
that.
We lose what? Disney World, Universal, they'll recover. They've got a bajillion dollars.
Yeah, they'll open somewhere else.
Yeah. Disney already has what? 5 other locations. They'll be fine.
Yeah.
Um oh, Sakura, are you in Florida as well? There we go. Yeah. Close to 100 yesterday, they say. Aw, Davy Jones says the morning is really nice because we get to see you two. You're adorable, Davy Jones. Always a pleasure. We Daniel, we've had very few calls where it was just you and I sitting on a call.
We had one that was us planning, not streamed, it was us just planning all the geography stuff for Bruna Kilo.
Yes. Yeah, if you've seen the map of the continent that we're playing on, and you think, oh yeah, geologically that makes sense. That is because Daniel sat down on a call with me after doing like a bunch of research on how worlds work.
It was so much fun.
And
I
sat
used
down and was like, here's how this would be, and actually, if this is here, then there should be this other thing. And if you look at the map and you go, that doesn't make any sense. That's mine. That was me going, yeah, but I like it though.
yeah, it's even though it's not like a high magic world, it's still a magic world. Also, like it's
And
on like
it used to be a magic world.
yeah. So rules don't have to apply.
That's the thing to keep in mind is that like just because there's not a lot of wizards now doesn't mean that it's not a magical world. The world is magic. The continent less so.
So cool. I want to play in this world forever. Like 20 I want to live there. I want to jump in. I want to
Well, speaking of jumping in, you're running something coming up.
Yes I am. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
You've run games before, correct?
Yeah, I've ran games for very like loosely just like with my friends.
Sure.
I put in a lot of effort into what I thought was cool and for like the story to go along. And I'm gonna give myself some credit. I think I did a pretty good job.
Hey.
My friends are sometimes dumbasses. Same as myself. And things just get wacky and stupid and weird. So I don't want any
luckily you're on a channel where that is just sort of the norm. So for those of you in the chat, not this upcoming Monday, but the following one, the week before we go back and dive back into Hooligans, Daniel's going to be running a one-shot called Roddie's Rascals, and it is going to be give us the elevator pitch, Daniel. What is the low down and dirty? What does this look like?
It's going to be a prequel one shot before the current events of what's happening in Hash Browns and Hooligans when Roddie was an active professor at the University of the Phoenix in Dugborum.
I constantly forget that that's a thing. Yeah, the University of the Phoenix is the college in Dugborum.
Yep, it's where I am employed.
Mm-hmm.
And I, as a professor, I will be assigning like a field trip project to my class, and then that's going to be the adventure.
Mm-hmm.
The students are going to be the players, going tasked with this thing. I've started to give it some thought, and
That's good.
I have very little ideas for it so far, but the inspiration and the motivation is there. The creative juices, I've been letting them simmer.
Nice.
And I know I'm just gonna have like one period where I'm just gonna sit down at like 3 in the morning and just go on a Google Doc and just sit there for like 4 hours, just going crazy, like
Yeah.
nonstop brain
I
activity.
fully expect a message at like 3 in the morning from you at some point. There's just gonna be a link to a Google Doc titled "My Manifesto." Um, get in there. It's just like 40 pages of content of just like furious fever typing. Um,
That's it's the best way. It's the
It
best way to
is.
world build.
I do that constantly. Like Noelle was talking in was it Monday's stream? I forget when it was, but Noelle was talking about how I sent her a message at like 3 in the morning that was like, "Hey, we need to rethink your character." And it was like 3 in the morning on the day we were supposed to do character creation. It was just like, "Hey, so I don't think it's I don't think it's gonna work.
Just change your shit.
I've been doing the numbers. I've been crunching the numbers, and they don't add up. But yeah, because originally she wanted to play a
Reborn.
a reborn. Which for those of you in the chat who aren't necessarily familiar, a reborn is a sort of like a revenant. They're like not fully undead, not fully alive. They're somewhere in the middle. They're sort of this like reanimated person. And we talked through it, and her backstory was somewhere along the lines of like she had been resurrected, but it went wrong, and so she didn't come fully back. And it was a really cool backstory, but in a low magic world where there's really not a whole lot of magic healing, it didn't fit really well. And then so I scrapped Reborn. I was like, Reborn aren't available. And then we got into character creation, and Mel goes, "I'm gonna play a Reborn." And we were like, "Oh, actually, I forgot to tell you, we did scrap those." And she was like, "Oh no, but I wanted to play like a Frankenstein monster." And we were like, "Go on." So mechanically she's a reborn, but technically she was just sort of Frankensteined together and was never fully dead. Just sort of like that same mindset of like, if you have a ship and you keep taking pieces away from the ship and replacing them, how long is it until it's no longer the same ship? Sort of along those lines.
I am so excited to follow that part of the story in Hash Browns and Hooligans.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Shelly was like in that dream state,
Her nightmare, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I want to do this. I want to explore. I want to find out information. I want to know.
Crimson Rockstar, good morning to you as well. Good Snowy Night says, Reborns don't breathe, so I wanted to be a tiny gnome that could be mailed in a box as a surprise. Anytime somebody talks about like being mailed, which happens more than you would think in a D&D game, anytime somebody says that like they wanted to be mailed or something, I think of the Emperor's New Groove, where Yzma is like, first I'll turn him into a flea, and then I'll put that flea in a box, and then I'll put that box in a bigger box, and then I'll mail that box to me, and when it gets there, I'll smash it with a hammer! It's brilliant, brilliant, brilliant! And I think about that 5 times a week.
Monday through Friday?
Pretty much, yeah.
Just not weekends.
Really just any time anything is happening, somewhere in my head there is a Disney movie from the early 2000s playing. So like Emperor's New Groove, Tarzan, Treasure Planet, Brother Bear, like any of those, Atlantis. Oh my goodness. My brain plays the soundtracks from early 2000s Disney movies into my brain at all hours of the day. And that really tells you pretty much all you need to know about me as a person.
I like growing up.
Good time roll. Thank you for the follow.
Hey, thank you very much. I watched all the Disney movies
Hmm.
but they're not the movies that like sunk into my head.
Sure.
Pixar, the Disney Pixar movies though, that those are like solidified in my brain.
Crimson Rockstar says no Mulan. Aw, Mushu sad. Mulan plays all the time. My go-to karaoke song is "Make a Man Out of You," because it's so good, and I can hit the like, and that's. Do you know the song "Make a Man Out of You," Daniel?
Yeah,
So you know
relatively. Don't ask me to sing
relatively
it right
sure,
now.
sure, but you know in the middle there's the part where like all of the different people have like one line that they sing. That part I can do like a pretty close approximation of all of those voices, so I really enjoy doing it at karaoke because I'll be doing the like regular song and I get to that part and I just start switching voices in rapid order, and it's very fun for me. um
That is fun. I would like to witness that.
uh oh, Gen Con. We should do karaoke at Gen Con.
Oh, I really hope I can go.
Um,
I really hope that works out.
oh, if you can't go, I'll be so sad. It's gonna be fun. We have a massive Airbnb that we're just gonna cram as many people into as we possibly can. If we can get the entire cast there, we will definitely do a live show of Hash Browns and Hooligans. Of even if it's not a show where we can find like space at Gen Con and like do it in a theater on a stage or something. We'll just do a show where it's all of us together in the same room and we'll film it.
Nice.
Um,
At Chili's.
at Chili's. I feel like the Hooligans vibe is closer to Applebee's.
Okay, okay.
The Hooligans thrive on those dollar margaritas. Oh
Wow.
man. Good Times Roll says came for the D&D, but you've grabbed me with 2000s Disney chat. Hashtag Justice for Treasure Planet. Good Times Roll, I've got great news for you. If you're into both D&D and Treasure Planet, Spelljammer is coming out this summer, and I'm so excited. Disney and Dragons, Crimson Rockstar. Disney and Dragons would get shut down so quick. Disney is relentless with their copyright strikes.
Unless they did it.
Unless they did it. That's true. If you know any producers at Disney who are looking to do a D&D game with a bunch of Disney stars, send them my way. If you're sitting in the chat right now and you're like, oh yeah, my dad runs things over at Disney. My dad, Mickey Disney, is constantly looking for content. I would love to do that. That'd be a super fun time. I can create an awesome Disney-inspired D&D game. Davy Jones, his brother hired me to run a game for his birthday, because Davy Jones was supposed to run a game for their D&D group on his birthday, and so his brother reached out to me and was like, "Hey, do you want to just jump into the Discord and take over and start running a game instead?" And I was like, "Yes, I do." And so I ran a Lion King one shot for them,
That's awesome.
where all of their characters were Timon, Pumbaa, Zazu, Nala, Simba, and Rafiki. Were their characters, and I had fleshed them all out. They all had different abilities and stuff, and then they went off and they started like out in this lush tropical dungeon or jungle, and then they had to like make their way across the plains and stuff, and I gave them a couple of different locations that they could go to try and find like magic items to prepare themselves, and then they got to like the giant city in the center where Simba's uncle had taken over, and they had to fight Scar, and I had filled it with gnolls, which are like hyena monsters, it was a very fun one
That
shot.
sounds epic. That sounds so much fun.
I would happily I need to fine tune it because like it was something that I made on the fly and was like, okay, well let me put this together and stuff. After running it with Elliot, I would want to like fine tune it in a couple of places because a couple of spots it sort of it dragged a little bit. I would want to do a couple of fine tunings on it, but I had a ton of fun with it. Let's see. Hooligans. I assume this is in reference to the Applebee's comment earlier. Davy Jones says Hooligans is off-brand Joe's Crab Shack, Jim's Pincer Palace. Sakura says I'll call Dave Filoni. 1 second. I would love to just meet Dave Filoni. Honestly, like what an absolute legend.
Is that a Disney dude?
He is mostly Star Wars.
Okay.
But pretty influential over there, yeah. A lot of like Clone Wars was Dave Filoni and some Mandalorian and like you know who Ahsoka is?
Yeah.
That's his. He made Ahsoka.
Oh, I like Dave Filoni.
Yeah.
I love Ahsoka.
Ahsoka is my fiance's favorite character.
Rightfully so.
She loves Ahsoka. She has the book. Anytime I see an Ahsoka Funko Pop, I buy it. Anytime I see like really anything Ahsoka, I end up getting it for her. If you're out there and you're like, I have a random Ahsoka thing, and I don't like it, and you want to send it to my fiance, she will lose her mind. David Jones, it was an awesome surprise, so much fun. I had a blast sitting there and like waiting to jump into that Discord because I knew you didn't know I was coming, Elliot. That was very fun for me. Sakura says Dave says F you, sorry.
Damn.
Oh man. That's so depressing after I just sang Dave's praises. David Jones, we also came so close to a TPK. Yes, you did. I thought Dave Filoni would at least let us down easy. What an asshole.
Yeah, fuck Dave Filoni.
I love Dave Filoni so much though. Like the stuff that we'll go down this rabbit hole. Sure, that's mostly what this show is going down rabbit holes. Let's pull up Dave Filoni's IMDb, shall we? Dave Filoni, The Mandalorian, Clone Wars, Star Wars Rebels, Boba Fett, Bad Batch. Star Wars Resistance, Rogue One, Star Wars The Force Awakens, Avatar The Last Airbender. I always
Love
forget
Avatar The
that
Last
was
Airbender.
his. Like
That's thank you, Dave Filoni.
Yeah. He's incredible. He's from Pittsburgh? What the heck? I love Dave Filoni. He's incredible. I love him so much. If at any point I got the opportunity to meet Dave Filoni, I would lose my mind. I actually was having a conversation the other day about like who are like niche celebrities that like you would lose your mind if you met them. And I think Dave Filoni is one of them. That like I don't think I would be able to contain myself if I met Dave Filoni. Yeah, he was an animator on Avatar.
Oh my god, that's so fucking awesome. Avatar The Last Airbender is
So
I think my
good.
favorite show. I think it's my favorite show of all
It's
time.
incredible. I really should go back and rewatch it. It's been a while since I watched it. I didn't grow up watching it. It wasn't something that I watched as a kid. The first time I watched Avatar was at the beginning of COVID when everything went into lockdown, and I was like, okay, I need shows to keep myself sane that I have never seen before. And I watched Avatar and The Legend of Korra like all back to back over the course of like a couple of weeks, because I had nothing to do and I was just sitting there like, this is incredible. This is the best thing I've ever seen. At the time, I didn't have like I had literally. I don't think I've ever talked about this on the stream. I moved into my place, literally like a week before lockdown. Like when I moved into my place, COVID was still like, yeah, there's this COVID thing that's happening somewhere. Who knows what that is? And then I moved in and I went to PAX East. And I got back from PAX East, and the next day they were like, everybody's in lockdown now. And I was like, oh, okay. So like it was miserable because I was like moving into my new place, but nobody was available to like help me move because I was like everything was in lockdown. To some of my friends, very great credit though. They busted their butts helping me out in the beginning stages of things. But it was fantastic. Let's see here. Davy Jones, I am tempted to give you a timeout from the chat for saying yes, Avatar is M. Night's best movie yet. You're a bad person for that. If I didn't love you so much, I would remove you. I will let it be redeemed by your comment directly above that, which is Warlocks and Waffles is an Ouroboros of rabbit holes.
Yo, speaking of rabbit holes, I went kayaking with my friend Jaden the other day, and so I live like in this like little neighborhood, and there's like a lake in the middle of this neighborhood, and like goes around this lake, and inside that lake there's a little island, and so we kayaked to this island. There were a shit ton of rabbits there, with like actual rabbit holes. How did it get to this island? I assume somebody just brought two. And then magic happened, but on this random little, it's like a rabbit island, and that was really interesting to experience.
That's very I would love to play with that in like a D&D space of like you show up to a tiny little island and there's just a like there's tons of rabbits. There's rabbits everywhere, and there's no natural predators on the island. So these rabbits have just gone completely out of control. It's like those towns that you hear about that are like cat cities. Where there's just like so many cats, they've just like overrun the entire city. The Legend of Korra was super solid. Both shows were very enjoyable. Legend of Korra is the one thing I did notice is that tonally, Legend of Korra is very different than Avatar. Both incredibly good, just very different.
Yeah. I know a lot of people who watch The Legend of Korra and don't like it because they're expecting it to be...
They're expecting it to be more of the same, and it's not.
And you got to watch them as two different shows.
Yeah, like the other thing is like Korra is like she is very, very different from Aang. Like it's kind of a central plot point of the show that they're very different people. So like I know a lot of people who expected it to be like, okay, well she's the next Avatar, that means she's Aang, just reborn, so she should be like Aang, and then she wasn't. And it's like there's a whole scene in Avatar where like Aang is talking to previous versions of himself and is like, what should I do? And they're all like, oh yeah, definitely freaking kill that guy. Like, murder is the best option. And Aang is like, okay, what if I didn't do that though? And they were like, no, you should kill him. Murder him,
pussy,
child.
Aang.
But like, it's kind of a central plot point of the story that like each reincarnation of it it's their own person while still being that same spirit. Crimson Rockstar says, over in Japan there's a monkey island. I want to go to there.
Let's go. Field trip. Let's go right now. Book tickets.
David Jones, the new Netflix show, Rabbit Orgy Island. Oh man. Good Snowy Night. Also, Nickelodeon ruined the ending of Korra. I don't remember the ending of Korra, so I will take your word for it.
Ending of Korra.
David Jones says you can get Monkey Island from a lot of countries. It's a great game. Well played. They only aired the ending online. It's wild.
That was the season with Kuvira, and it was like the Earth Kingdom, like conquest.
I know at one point they were I don't know if it's still a thing that they're talking about. They were talking about doing, like another show in the Avatar universe, but doing it like a much earlier like version of the Avatar, which could I would watch a prequel.
I would watch it.
Yeah. I would watch
1,000%.
I would watch a full series on like that first Avatar, or do
Juan?
like
Yo, I love Juan. He's so sick.
What if they did a show where like each season was like a new avatar, and they were just
But,
like
I would really like
you
that.
would go through like their entire time as an avatar. So like the longer they were an avatar, it would like do giant time skips in between episodes. But like if they were only an avatar for a very short period of time, like
Just
you get
murdered
a
as a
lot
baby.
of character development in those characters. I love the Korra Avatar backstory they did over a few episodes. Netflix is doing a live action Avatar series. I did hear about that.
I heard that, and then I heard
good.
the original creators were on that, and then I heard that the original creators left because they were disagreeing with how Netflix wanted it to be, and now I'm not sure what my expectations are for it.
Yeah, it's gone back and forth quite a bit. They would need to make sure, like, it's very easy to do wrong. Like especially Avatar. Avatar handled so many topics so beautifully. Like it would be rough to try and redo
Also,
that.
there's like really high standards for good Avatar because of how much people hate the M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, so like if you do it wrong, you're fucked. You're so fucked.
We have been way off the topic of D&D for a while now. We should probably pull the ripcord and go back.
You don't want to turn this into an Avatar podcast?
Dude, if you want to do an Avatar podcast, I'm super down. Have you seen the Avatar role-playing game?
I have. I don't know how it works.
I haven't played it at all, but I would be super down for like an Avatar stream.
I'd be down.
Yeah, we could definitely do that. Okay. Yes, Davy Jones. The delay is catching you. Davy Jones has put in the chat, there's an Avatar RPG. It's like, yeah, I know there is. I already said it. I've heard mixed reviews on it. Some people have like absolutely trashed it. Other people love it. And anytime I see something like that, I'm like, okay, well, I'll play it and go into it with an open mind. But yeah, I'm excited to try it out at some point. It was on Kickstarter a little while ago. But I've heard good things about it.
I have this cool idea. It's D&D related. This is on topic. For Rabbit Orgy Island.
Go on.
You could have a ton. If there's no natural predators, you have a bunch of rabbit folk on this island.
Sure.
If there's no natural predators and it's a very small island with an increasing population, they have to turn into cannibals, and that's an interesting story. And then you could have like a group
oh my
of
goodness,
you could have like a ruthless rabbit folk just like scars and hook in his mouth.
But imagine going to this island and it's this beautiful, like, I'm picturing the Shire. And you show up to this island, it's just filled with like wild bunnies hopping everywhere and butterflies and like birds, and it's beautiful. It's this beautiful island. And you find this like little like Shire-esque town, populated by rabbit folk, and they're loving and caring, and they're like, oh, let us get you some food, let us get you something to drink. You look tired, come lay down. And they're just like, they are the sweetest people. But once the sun goes down,
She just
they
slaughtering.
They just will immediately attempt to kill you, to eat you. But like because if they're to avoid them being wiped out, they would need to have some sort of like rules in place, right? So it would basically be like, once the sun goes down, it's basically the purge. Every single night.
Yeah, it's the purge every single day.
Oh my goodness. Imagine like a group of adventurers going into like being invited into one of these houses and like laying down, and then one of them sort of just starts poking around, and they open up a closet, and there's just like a full suit of like Mad Max style like rabbit armor.
Yeah, rabbit armor.
There's little fangs that fit onto the front bunny teeth.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
The when they're resuscitating you and when they're like nourishing you with like the food at the beginning, it's just like rabbit stew.
Davy Jones put in the chat, bunny purge. And then immediately after, damn it! Fuck the delay. Oh man.
Sorry, bud. Beat you to it again.
I don't think the C17R says, would it have the purge warning horn every single night, because that would be amazing. I don't think so, because
No.
it's just a, like, it's just a thing. It's just everybody knows that at night, that's the hunt begins at night. And so, like, why would you set off a horn to announce something that everybody already knows? I'm super into this. This is definitely a thing that exists in the world now. Keep your eyes open for that to appear at some point in something I create. That's great. Daniel, we'll collaborate on building the Bunny Purge town.
Bunny purge. All right, fantastic. I'm excited. Glad I could be a part of it.
What's the thing that like rabbits live inside of?
Like bunny hills?
No, like the things that people build to put a hutch. Call the town like Hutchburg.
Hutchburg. Because that sounds just like a regular like
Hutchington. It's called Hutchington.
That's good. That's good. Because that sounds like a regular town.
Yeah.
That sounds like a nice little like. That sounds like. Yeah, that just sounds like it sounds like one of those like Manifest Destiny towns.
But yeah, I'm into that. I like that a lot. Sort of in a similar vein. I guess it's not really.
Something completely
different vein. What do you envision for Roddie's Rascals? What do you envision being sort of the objective of this thing? What are they going off to find?
Roddie's going to assign them to go like explore and like perform an archaeological study. Now, do I know how an archaeological study works? Not yet, but
No,
I will.
It's fine, because Roddie wouldn't either.
And I'm gonna have the students like gather enough information to file a report once they come back. But once they're there gathering information for this report, things go wrong.
And this report is definitely worth like 75% of their grade, right?
Yeah, Roddie doesn't give homework because he doesn't want to grade. He's out stealing diamonds or whatever.
Yeah, bring me concrete evidence. I like the concept of Roddie using his students to like
4 marks.
Well, he's using them to like scope out to like areas and be like, okay, well I'm gonna send in my students to like find out what is the security like, what are the guard rotations like. That's very fun. How far before the campaign do you envision this being? Is this like a young Roddie? Is this like towards the beginning of his career? Is this like relatively close to the thing? Are they scoping out the cup?
I don't think they're scoping out the cup. I think it's going to be. It's not going to be like so far back in the past that like Roddie would need different character art if this was animated.
Right.
But
like a couple years.
Yeah, because I think Roddie's been a professor for like a good bit.
Yeah.
Like he's like an established.
I picture
professor.
him as being like he was young when he started becoming a professor.
Yeah.
Like he was that professor that like the students sitting in his class are like, why is he in charge? He's like 2 years older than us.
Yeah. He was he like straight shot like all through academia, like just like went as fast as possible and then just got to the end and was like, I'm bored now, gonna start stealing shit.
Did he like enter into this archaeology degree with the concept of like, I'm going to like find cool stuff all the time, and then find out that like anything that he found would just kind of be taken from him and put in museums and stuff?
Yeah, so at first he just really likes archaeology.
Right.
It's like history. He's just a history buff.
Mm-hmm.
Like he has like a +9 to history or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if any character in D&D puts history as expertise. But Roddie did.
It is wild that as a rogue, you were like, I get 2 skills that I get to put expertise in. History. What was your other one?
Probably stealth.
Stealth. Okay.
Yeah. Cause I'm stealing gems, so I gotta know
sleight of hand.
I think I did stealth though. But so yeah, and then he just got to the point, and then like after a while of teaching, he was like, it's all kind of the same. Might as well like start having a little fun with it, and just started like, budging a rule here, breaking a rule there. Stopped caring about like teaching as much. Still a good teacher, but just like doesn't really care about like rigorous academia. He's sort of given up on like the structure of school and just kind of he's just having fun with it at this point. And then he got arrested.
Follow-up question on
Yes.
on him getting arrested. The cup that he stole, or the cup that he stole but then lost. Do you think that was something that he had recovered and then it got taken and put away, or do you think it was something that was already there and he was like, it doesn't belong here?
I think that because it was like catacombs, and it was like a really solid glass thing that like not even Bert and his crew could figure out how to open or like break.
Well, they could have broke it. They didn't want to set off the alarms.
Yeah.
You used illegal magic and like warped and transformed a hole into it.
But I don't think that Roddie discovered that.
Okay. So it was something that he heard was there, and wanted to take.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that.
Because I also know that Roddie doesn't want to keep the stuff for like a very long time. It's not like he's like a hoarder.
Well, we talked about the fact that he's not looking to like get things and put them into his own personal collection. That he just sort of like gets things and he puts them where he thinks they belong.
Yeah.
Which is endlessly amusing to me as like the Indiana Jones parallel of he's a archaeology professor who goes off and does these like missions, and then like goes off and like finds stuff in museums and goes, it belongs in the wild, and takes it and just puts it in random places. Which would lead to an interesting point about like, if he's doing these archaeology digs and stuff, is he just digging things up to see them? Like,
I think so.
He doesn't actually care about like getting stuff out of there.
Yeah, he just wants to go there, dig it out, and like learn about like to see if there's any more nuance to the history. And then once he's learned that, he's like, all right, now where do I want to put this? But
He takes all of the stuff and just reorganizes it. Like uncovers the lost city of gold and he's like, wow, this is really pretty.
Starts chucking gold bricks into the ocean.
This doesn't belong here. This goes over here. Like, I think this statue of this golden king would look really good in the middle of the desert for no explained reason.
But then imagine, because he would get such a kick out of this, of fucking with other archaeologists.
Oh, absolutely.
Because just then they have no
putting an artifact from a completely
for why
different
that is
location
there instead of in the place where it's supposed to be.
Putting an artifact from a completely different location in like a hidden location and then resealing that location.
It's like if we discovered the city of Atlantis and like instead of King Tut's tomb being in the pyramid, it was in Atlantis. But we knew it should have been in the pyramids.
Right. Like, how was King Tut connected?
Yeah. And it's just some goat man wanted to pull a little goof.
Well, what's funny is I can totally see Roddie also, like, because he has these transmutation magics, like, breaking his way into something, and then when he leaves, using his magic to fix it and just, like, reseal that entrance so that, like, there's no sign that he was ever in there. Yeah. There's just, like, people would, like, if they opened it, they would find these tracks that just led to a wall and just went through the wall, and they'd be like, it's a ghost. This place is haunted. Roddie gives me the vibes of, like, do you remember a few years back, just in the middle of nowhere, there was just an obelisk that people found? There's just, like, that large, like, no? Oh, I'm gonna find this.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Let's see here.
The only time I've thought about obelisks was the sundial from Avatar and building them for morale points or whatever in Sid Meier's Civilization 4.
Let's see here. It is mysterious monoliths are appearing across the world. Here's what we know.
What? This has Roddie's name written all over it.
So they were these, like, large, like, just metal rectangles, basically, that were, they found one in, California, one in Utah, and one in Romania. And they're all, like, basically the same. And they're just in these random remote locations for no explained reason. But yeah, it's ridiculous. If you search mysterious monoliths, you'll probably find it. It was wild. I remember when it was all over the place, like, people were like, is it aliens? What is it? I think it ended up being just some random artist that was like, I'm going to do a crazy thing. But
it literally just looks like a metal box.
Yeah, it's just a metal thing. I think they were triangles, but they were like these massive, like, structures. They were wild. I don't remember
they have
a ton about them.
Yeah, Utah, Finland.
Oh yeah, there were more of them that, like, they kept finding them.
Wow. San Juan. Wow.
But yeah, there were, like, all these different theories about what was happening. But yeah, it was very wild. But yeah, that was a wild time, and it reminds, like, as you're talking about what Roddie does and enjoys doing, that's what it reminds me of. Is just, yeah, like,
it's got the same vibe.
I have taken the throne from inside this, like, ancient lost city, and I have moved it to the middle of the desert and just left it there because it looks really pretty in the sunlight. And then, like, people wandering through the desert are like, why is there a throne here? Why is there a giant gold throne here? Imagine the flip of that if you, as a group of adventurers, were just wandering through somewhere and just found something wildly out of place sitting there. Like, if you were walking through, like, we'll go to where you're at in Hooligans. Like, when you were walking through the like, dead wood area,
yeah,
if you were walking through there and then all of a sudden you just saw, like, a stone sarcophagus standing in the middle of the woods, you guys would lose your minds.
Yeah, we would. So many insight.
That would be
every single check
that would be
possible.
The entire session would be you guys just losing your minds trying to figure out why this was here.
It would be more than one session, I think. We'd, like, look inside, dig around it, every single check possible, using every single
not
bit
touching
of magic.
It. Like, yeah. You guys are just burning through your hit points and stuff trying to figure out what this thing is. I can picture Thrax just, like,
I was just about
spending
to say.
points on divination to, like, try and figure out what this is, and just seeing this, like, sarcophagus, and he's like, okay, well, let me burn hit points, let me see what it is, and getting just, like, a sealed stone chamber that it's from, and, like, a mummy being put into it in this like, chamber that's been sealed, and then you see just, like, a mysterious figure come out of the darkness and grab it, and then it's just here, and you don't know why. It makes no sense. There's no connection to it, but it's because Roddie was like, this is tall and made of, like, old dead wood. I should put it in that
In the
forest full of
Yeah.
dead trees. Like, that's where this belongs, clearly.
Roddie's just following his Pinterest aesthetic board.
Oh man, that's incredible. I love everything about Roddie. I've been very upfront about my love for Roddie.
No,
I love all of our characters. All of the characters in this
the
show
characters, oh my
are
god, they're
very fun.
incredible.
If you haven't checked out the actual play yet, Hash Browns and Hooligans, there's some nonsense up in there. Let's see here. I think I can drop a playlist link. View full playlist. Here we go. I'll drop that in the chat there for you. That is the YouTube playlist. All 3 of the episodes are on there currently. Yeah, go check them out. We will be back with episode 4 of that on the 23rd of this month is when we come back. We're currently taking a couple of weeks to sort of retool some of the mechanics, get some more like solid crunchiness to some of the mechanics that we're using, because of the magic being sort of very fluid. Try and get some more hardcore mechanics on what that looks like and how those are used. It's probably going to revolve around like, here is the DC that you would need to hit, and you decide how many like hit dice you're willing to spend to accomplish that. Yeah, I'm very excited to go back into it. We'll probably be progressing the story forward by like a couple of weeks when we come back, to give you guys time to sort of like train up and get your new skills. You're all hitting level 3, so like we need some time to like retool what those different things look like. Yeah, I'm excited. Crimson Rockstar. Let's see here. Mem says, plus there is all the new things at Alchemy RPG. Yes, there's so much new stuff with Alchemy. I'm very, very excited for all of that. Also means that like give Alchemy a little while to like make sure that all of their stuff is ready to go without putting extra pressure on them for like, hey, we really need this thing for our stuff, because it's all gonna be there. I feel bad being like, hey, why is this thing not available to me yet? And they're like, because we just launched, please. I love the guys from Alchemy. If you haven't checked out Alchemy, go check them out. Here is their link. Oh,
They're so
it's
nice, kind, and helpful.
They are.
I really like just reading through the Alchemy Discord just to just to see the helpfulness. It's such like good vibes. Absolutely.
They are awesome. I love them so much. The whole team. I got to meet a bunch of them at PAX East. All fantastic people. If you haven't checked them out, go check them out. They're awesome. Let's see. Crimson asked, so fun side question of things. What is your basic approach to homebrewing a city? That is a great question. For a city, I usually will take like a couple of core things that I want to build the city around. So for example, we're doing, in the current campaign that we're running, the players just got to the city of, oh boy, I'm a bad GM, I can't remember the name of the city. Halinor. They just got to Halinor. For Halinor, I knew 2 main things about it. One, I knew that it was a deeply religious city, so there's a bunch of temples and stuff like that in Halinor. And then I knew that there was a gate that had been there from a long time ago that led to sort of the Undercity, and had like monsters and stuff would occasionally try and burst out through it. And so then I build the city from around those things. So I know if there's a heavy religious presence there, there's probably going to be there's not a lot of like public crime stuff because it's a very religious city, so a lot of it's going to be like very like underground seedy stuff. The gate being there and requiring like monsters come out of it means that there's going to be a heavy military presence there because they need to be able to defend the city if anything were to break out of there. Because there's a bunch of monsters that come out of the gate, it also means that like the population is going to be pretty low because like nobody wants to live in a city that is filled with monsters. Probably the only people that are going to be there are the people that are either tied to the temples in some way, or people that are providing some sort of service. So like weaponsmiths, armorsmiths, taverns, inns, shopkeepers, that sort of thing. And then anybody who is like actively hiding from other people, Hallinor is a good place to be because one, you could always claim sanctuary with one of the temples if you needed to, or you just sort of lay low and stick to the back and don't draw attention to yourself, and everybody there has bigger problems than like this guy. So that's my process. I usually think about like where are they located, and then what are the like primary reasons for that city to exist. So in my other continent, one of the cities is Sunken Forge. Sunken Forge is a old dwarven city that was dwarves usually build in mountains and stuff like that, but they had built this city down near the coast, and they did a bad job because they weren't used to the like needing to build a foundation and stuff like that because they're used to building in mountains, and so the whole city has sort of like sunk into the water a little bit, but yeah, they're so I worked with that, and then I was like, okay, well, that's just the basics of the city. What would they provide? And so because they were on the coast, I made them a shipping city, so they deal with a lot of like ships coming in and being fixed up and repaired and stuff like that. They also deal with a lot of they've got old dwarven forges and blacksmith shops and stuff like that. The dwarves don't really live there anymore because why would they? It's a horrible city. But they left behind their forges and stuff, so they're these excellent forges. So there's blacksmiths from other places in the continent that will move there to be able to have access to this incredible dwarven forgery stuff. Not forgery stuff, forging stuff. Forgery would be like dwarven fake IDs. It's just your picture, but you have a dwarven beard. And so, like, because of that, it's these masterwork blacksmiths that have access to stuff that they would never have access to in any other city. So a lot of weapons and armor and stuff can be found there. But yeah, it's that's where I build from, and then I decide, okay, well, based on that stuff, what would I need to do in order to flesh out around that? If they're predominantly a blacksmithing city, what do they need in order to be able to do that? Well, they're going to need fuel, and they're going to need material, which means that they need to have mines nearby to get that stuff. Hey, Artemis. Artemis coming in just to make me drink and check my posture. Thank you very much, Artemis. Appreciate you very much. I don't have any water in here, but I will drink my monster, and I will IOU Artemis one giant gulp of water that I will take as soon as we get off this call.
How dare you not bring water with you?
It's the morning.
Yeah.
I forget things.
Sunken Forge sounds a lot like Florida, minus the mines.
Artemis, wow, I'm fine. Artemis, Daniel, entertain the people. I'll be right back.
I can 100%
I require water. Give me one moment.
Sure thing. I know that when I'm building actually, I think I can check the chat. What's everybody happening? I'm in charge now. Hunter made a mistake. I know that when I'm building a city, anytime I've run games for my friends, it's just been like what what do people need, like where does the story going? Like I know my friends are wanting to go to this town because of the previous session, and then I just build on from like what I am planning on them to do. If they want to talk to a certain person, I have to flesh out that NPC. If I have to Hunter's back, everybody. I think I did a pretty good job.
What were you talking about?
How I build cities, how I homebrew cities. I really don't do anything until my players need to get there. I really just like go by the fly. Inspiration strikes, and then I write it down. And so far, it's always worked out.
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, whatever the players need, that's what's in
Yeah.
the city.
Towns need a town hall, somebody in charge,
Figuring
and
out what the like governing force of a city is always fun. Of
yeah,
like, is it just like one person who's in charge? Is it a council of people? Is it like a ruling class or a
is it
something
just a
like
free
that?
for all? Is it
Is it
just a
just
24/7
is it a free
purge?
for all?
Is it Bunny Purge Orgy Island?
Is it Hutchington? Who knows? But yeah, it is what it is. Let's see here. Does liquid caffeine actually hydrate? Water is an ingredient in Monster.
But the
That's all.
caffeine
That's all
does
I'm saying.
dehydrate you, so I think it cancels out. It's
It's
like you're
mostly liquid. I got my water. I'm drinking it. Have a great
I
day, Artemis. Have a wonderful meeting.
Oh, Artemis just came in to make sure you drink water.
Artemis came in, redeemed hydrate and posture check. I didn't have water, so I had to go get it. They said, haha, I bullied Hunter into getting water. And then they said they've got to get to their meeting, but have a great stream. But yeah, so Crimson, I hope that answered your question. If you're building a city, focus on what is the primary like export of that city, then what is required to that city in order to make that export a reality, and then what is the like government system of that city, and you're probably good to go. From there, you can flesh out everything else around it. Why
Oh
does the
man,
city exist? Also a very good one. You probably want some. You probably want some sort of like basic history for that city of like, okay, this city was founded for this reason. Like one of my cities is slowly dying out because it's like it doesn't serve a purpose anymore. But like the people that live there are just the people that have always lived there. The like their families have lived there and their grandparents lived there. Like they've always been there. And it used to be a city that supplied like wood and timber and stuff like that up into the mines north of them. But those mines ran dry and all the miners left, and so like they don't really have a primary export, and they're far away from everything, so there's no reason for anybody else to go there. So it's a slowly dying city, unfortunately. Mem says there's a cool site with some collaborative world building with cards for randomly making social, economic, and religious setups with cities and culture. That's dope.
ooh,
Mem,
that
send me
sounds
send me a
awesome.
link to that. That sounds awesome. Jelly Green, I think there was a study 4 years ago or so that showed that beer under 5% ABV shows a net hydration positive. There you go.
There we go.
But yeah, we are halfway through the show. So that means it's time to plug and thank 1985 games. That's wrong. I said 1985, not 95. 1985 Games is one of our partners for the show. We're collaborating with them on some cool stuff. They have all sorts of awesome things over at their site. Go check them out. They have the Crown of Polyhedrals t-shirt is currently on pre-order. If you haven't checked that out, it's super cool. It's a skull. It's got a big D20 in its mouth. It's got like a crown of dice across its head. They also have
That's so sick.
their dungeon craft pages, which are like little map pieces and stuff like that are very, very cool. I've backed a couple of their Kickstarters for those. They have their dungeon notes, which are different notebooks for GMs, players, world building, whatever you need. They've got a dungeon note for it. And then they have their deck of stories. Their deck of stories is very, very cool. They give you different things inside of them, like different story prompts and things like that, and they have the orc system, which is the like I forget what the things are for them. Here we go. O is opening action, an idea to hook your audience into the adventure. R is rising action, a twist of the unexpected that complicates the story. And C is climactic action, a confrontation that is the pinnacle of the story. So you pull like one O card, one R card, one C card, and some of them have like an O and a C or an R and a C, and you piece them together to make a story. So you can either shuffle through them and find one that works for you, or you can pull directly out of the different stuff. They also have booster packs as well. So they've got a Gears booster for steampunk themed story prompts. The Gothic booster has like Gothic horror. Hell has like hell themed, obviously. High Water is like seafaring and stuff like that. And then they have a jungle pack as well. They also have the Deck of Stories NPC boosters, which are just decks of cards with like random NPCs in there that have like beautiful illustrations on them, so you can see what those NPCs look like. And then they have their like actual decks of stories, volume 1, 2, and their Genesis box. That is all of those. They're doing really, really cool stuff with that stuff. They also have their Counterspell miniatures, which are stunning. If you haven't taken a look at those, go take a look. They also have a subscription box with miniatures and stuff in it, which is very, very cool. They had a mini in there a couple of months ago that was a wardrobe that was like opening up, and there was like a creature crawling out of the wardrobe, and like the whole wardrobe also had like mouths and stuff on it, like it was some sort of crazy mimic. I love that mini so much. It is just an absolutely stunning piece. But yeah, that is 1985 Games. If you click on that link, it'll take you to their page. Use coupon code WAFFLES at checkout, and you get 10% off. That will also help out the stream, because we get a kickback from anybody who goes to the site from our link. Or uses our coupon code. So if you use our link, but then you find a better coupon code, feel free to use it. Always happy to make sure that you guys are getting the best stuff. Yes, I believe it is with a capital W, ma'am. Jolly Green says mowing grass in 98-degree sunny temps.
Fuck that.
Absolutely. I hate mowing the grass. The other day I was sitting in here and I heard a lawnmower going. I was like, that's weird. It sounds really close to my house. And I looked outside and somebody was mowing my yard. I was like, what's going on? Apparently the neighborhood had like some inspection coming up. And so the people that like run the neighborhood had like a lawn service come out and just mow everybody's yards to the same like areas so that everything looked perfect. And I was like, that's fine. I don't have to mow. That's fine. I'm down with this. Also, a friend of the show is Alchemy RPG. They are awesome. If you haven't checked them out, go check them out. They are super, super cool. They do virtual tabletop with all sorts of cool mechanics and stuff. We run our actual play through there. They also have, I don't know how many of them they have left, but they have these founder boxes, which have cards in them. And these cards will unlock cool stuff in the program. So you've got ones for like maps or their Lore of Athera book. If you like Humblewood, they've got that in there. Champeku maps. They've got the Griffin Saddlebag for just a bunch of new magic items. Friend of the show, Gooey Cube, has their first book in there as well. All sorts of very, very cool stuff in there. If you haven't checked out Alchemy, go check them out. Also, the Founders Box comes with a pin. There's only 1,000 of these boxes, and each of them is numbered. I am number 11. I'm very fancy.
Wow, that's so cool.
So go out and check out Alchemy. They're awesome. I cannot wait to dive back into the show and start playing around with them again, because it's so much fun. I love their stuff, and the team over there is crazy. So
it is absolutely nuts seeing how people just like come up with and make and produce such high quality stuff.
Yeah,
like it's crazy.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm such a fan of everything of like
Mem says, damn, I got 40. Mem, 40 is still a good number. That is still a 2-digit number. That's like, got those low numbers, baby. Love that. One of the there's a bar near my house. I'll plug a local establishment. Why not? Most of you are nowhere near me, but I'll plug them anyway. They're called Love Drafts, and they're like this Cthulhu themed bar. They're awesome. I love them very much. But they have a mug club. Where you can like get like mugs, and there's like a number on each of the mugs, and I love them very much. The mugs are very cool. If you're in the like Harrisburg, Pennsylvania area, check out Love Drafts. Yes, Chemical Koala dropped their website. Thank you, Chemical. They're super cool. I love them very much. They're just an awesome place. We went there the other night, and just a fun place to be. They recently, I put a picture of it out on Twitter. They started selling these. You remember the like Hugs juices that like look like a little barrel?
No.
You don't? Oh my goodness. Let's see here.
I do like barrels though, so I am interested.
Let's see if I can get the like these. Why am I getting notifications? Stop it. Okay. You don't know these?
I don't think I know that.
You're too young. Anyway, they started selling a drink that is just one of those with a tiny thing of vodka turned over upside down into it. And it was very good. The moment I saw they had those, I was like,
I'll take some.
I mean, I can't not get one, right? Like that's pretty pretty mandatory. It is so good. Let's see here. Chemical, we spent a bit of time there. We do spend quite a bit of time there. They also have like a porch outside that you can like bring or a patio, I guess. Porch is technically raised off the ground, I think. So they have a patio outside that like you're allowed to bring your dogs and stuff and just like sit out on the patio. So that's always fun. Let's see here. BBG Hayward, I think computer role-playing games have folks a taste, and they wanted to see what real RPG was about. I think that helps explain the resurgence popularity of tabletop RPGs now. I would agree. Yeah, like there's a ton of people that played things like Skyrim and The Witcher and stuff like that, and fell in love with that style of game, and then they were like, wait, there's a game where I can do even more things? Let's see here. C17R says, I remember those. Hey, look, a barrel. BPG Hayward says, ew, Kool-Aid in a barrel. Ew to you, sir. They're delicious, especially when they have vodka in them. I have very, very fond memories of those because I wasn't allowed to have them as a kid. We weren't, like, my parents wouldn't buy them for us. They probably had their reasons, like wanting my teeth not to fall out. I've never had a cavity, so it works well.
Ever?
Ever. I've never had a cavity. I do have 3 baby teeth though. I have 3 baby teeth that don't have adult teeth underneath them. So if those teeth ever fall out or those teeth do get a cavity, I have no teeth there, and we'll have to just get like fake teeth put in.
Wow,
But
interesting.
yeah.
This tooth right here,
Uh-huh.
I had the baby tooth, the
Uh-huh.
adult tooth, but then I had a third grandpa tooth. So I had to
Interesting.
get my adult tooth pulled, and then the grandpa tooth came in.
Wild. I didn't know that was a thing. That's crazy.
Yeah. Also, I still have all of my wisdom teeth in, and I think I'm chilling. I don't think I'm gonna have to get them
I'm
removed.
jealous of that. I had all four of my wisdom teeth grew in sideways.
Ow.
And were like deeply impacted, so I had to get all four of them taken out, and it was
Shout
let's
out,
not talk
shout
about
out to my orthodontist, Dr. Gohill, for just like, I had braces for so long. Like my teeth were so jacked.
There you go.
Now look at me go.
Now look at you go. Yeah, I was never allowed to drink those as a kid. Except there was one house in our neighborhood growing up that would hand them out on Halloween instead of candy.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
you'd roll up to this house and they'd be like, "Here's a juice and a straw, and enjoy the rest of your night." And it'd be like, "Thank you, I'm deeply dehydrated after hauling around this massive sack of candy all night, so I need this to refuel."
I miss
was-
Halloween as a kid so much.
There was also a fire truck that would come to our neighborhood every year and hand out pizza.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's really cool.
I loved our neighborhood growing up. It was the best. Yeah, that was always fun. Also, Daniel, nobody's stopping you from going trick or treating.
Oh, I have little siblings.
Yeah.
I think I go trick or treating every year, so
Absolutely.
it's a fantastic time.
Do you dress up though?
Yeah,
Okay,
I
so
think so.
Here's my theory on Halloween. If I was handing out candy, and a fully grown adult came up to my door with a bag, but they had an awesome costume, I'm still gonna give them candy.
Yeah, they
Why
put in the
not?
work. They
put in
deserve
the
it.
work. They deserve it. On the flip side of that, if a kid walks up and isn't wearing a costume, no candy for them. They don't deserve it. They didn't do what they needed to do.
I will say, I used to be that kid. There was
You're
like
the
very,
worst.
there was a very long period of time where I was just like, I'm too cool to wear a costume. But also, it was just like, it was a big part of it was also like procrastination, where it was like, I don't want to go to parties. Like I'll just wear flip flops and say I'm a Florida man. It's like we live in Florida. We're all Florida men.
You're the worst. You're the worst person. When I lived in Texas, I worked at a boarding school, and so our off days were always like really really small. Like we'd be on for 5 days, where like we're on the clock at all times, for 5 days, and then we would have like 48 hours off. And while I was there, my 48 hours fell over trick-or-treating night for one of the local neighborhoods. And I was like, I got nothing better to do, so I put on a full costume. I have a morph suit that looks like an orc. So there's like ears and like teeth and stuff on it, and then I
Sick.
like put on like furs over my shoulder and like a belt around my waist and all sorts of stuff. Like I went hardcore.
Man, that's a tall kid.
And then I went out and I trick-or-treated. I was like the only person in the neighborhood trick-or-treating, and people would like open the door and they'd see me and they'd be like, "Ah," and they'd be like, "Are you a kid?" And I'm like, "No." And they're like, "Okay," and they'd just give me candy, and I'd be like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
I'm a fun person though.
A cool one of the best Halloween memories I have is one year. It was me, my brothers, and my grandpa. Me and my brothers would go around and like some friends. We would go around, get all candy, stuff it into a pillow sack. My grandpa would be going up and down the neighborhood streets on a bike, would take our pillow sacks, give us an empty one, bike them back to the house, and would just keep doing it. And we would like run. We like speed ran Halloween. Bro, the treasure pile of candy we got like 20 pounds of candy, I think.
Yeah.
It was like insane.
I had one of those pillowcases where the material just sort of stretches.
Nice.
And so like I'd be walking around hauling like Santa's sack full of candy, and get to houses and they'd be like, "Wow, you have a lot of candy." I'm like, "I'm going for the record." And they'd be like, "Well, here you go. Let's help you out towards that." I also very early on in my trick-or-treating career realized that like there were a couple sections of our neighborhood that were like off of the main stretch, and none of the kids went to those sections. Like there'd be a couple of people that would go down there, but not enough for like to make it worthwhile for the majority of kids. So I would go I would go down those towards the end, and we would go down them real quick. But we would go towards the end, like when it's 15 minutes before trick or treating is supposed to be done, and people would just be like, "Yeah, I mean, it's almost done anyway. We haven't seen really anybody," and they would just empty their bowls into my bag, and I'd be like,
Nice.
"Yes," and I'd run off to the next one. There was also one house on that road that handed out king size. And they would hand out king size, but they got so few people that at the end of the night they would be like, "Yeah, you can take 2, 3, 4, whatever you want. Just take a handful of them." I'd be like, "Yes, yes, yes," and then I'd get home and I would like sort it all out into like, okay, these are Reese's, these are Snickers, these are like whatever. And I would sort them all out and I would put those all into Ziploc bags so that all of them were sorted, and I'd put them back in there. So like depending on what I want, I could pull out my bag of Snickers or my bag of M&Ms or Skittles or whatever I wanted.
You were a much more organized kid than I was.
Which is crazy looking at my life now. But I was not necessarily organized. I was methodical. There's a difference. I had 2 brothers and parents that would steal my candy, so it had less to do with being organized and more with being paranoid about like I need to know how much I have at all times.
You keep like a ledger of
I did. I had like a notebook where I would keep track of like the different candies that I ate.
That's really funny.
Yeah, I was very paranoid about it. Let's see here. BBG Hayward says I dress up and hand out candy on Halloween. Give them candy or Jello shots. Let's see. You've inspired me. Most of the time costumes are too hot for me to wear at cons. I could be an orc and be basically body painted and mostly topless, which would work for me. Maybe a few leathers or a few furs or leather straps to look dangerous. Please do that. That would be incredible.
Morph suits are really hot though.
It depends on the morph suit. I've had some that are like really, really chill.
I guess I just live in a hot place.
You do live in Florida.
Yeah.
So
anything I wear is gonna
touching
be...
your body is bad.
Yeah.
The trick to trick or treating as an adult and getting handed beer for us to keep happy. That's always good. We handed 2 flavors of Jello shots out. That's cool. I don't know. See, I've been so deeply ingrained from childhood trick-or-treating of like, now don't take anything that's unwrapped. I don't know what I would do if somebody handed me like just a Jello shot. Like the gremlin side of my brain would be like, heck yeah, shots, throw it back. And then the other half of my brain would have my mom being there like, now make sure you check it for arsenic.
Starts running like a lab test kit to make sure it's safe.
Pull out a little pocket like testing kit. You're like, I don't trust it. This is green. That's the color of poison. No, it's just lime flavored. Yeah, you say that now. Oh man,
sounds like something somebody trying to poison me would say.
BBG Hayward, you played yourself because you just admitted to the crime. He said, "I'm gonna roofie Hunter." That's an admission of guilt. When I inevitably get a Jello shot from you and fall unconscious, I'm gonna play this in court.
It is. Would this count as circumstantial evidence?
I mean, that's an admission. That is premeditated.
Damn, but that's first degree.
Yeah.
You're going away for a long time.
You fool! You've fallen victim to one of the classic blunders. We had one topic that we did want to talk about today on the show, which is a while ago. We had talked on the show about doing a Scooby-Doo inspired one-shot. And so I messaged Daniel the other day. I was like, how much do you know about Scooby-Doo? And your answer was more than the average person, but not encyclopedic, which I think is the perfect amount of knowledge to write a Scooby-Doo one-shot.
Yeah, like I remember the movies, like the movies that I watched, the 2 main ones. It's Scooby-Doo and the Boo Brothers. I know as a kid I had a big crush on the farm girl from that movie.
Oh,
and then
solid choice.
and then the video game one was like the Electro dude in the carnival, and
Mm-hmm.
then there was like, and they got trapped in the video game and they had like beat all the levels. And then there was another one. It was like a sequel to that one where the video game like came out of the box and was like an electro
Oh.
power, and there were like all the other big. There's like the mud monster that like came to life. The movies were crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like the show was all like, oh, it's just regular people pretending to be monsters. But then the movies were like, no, 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 these are real monsters.
Yeah. Do you remember the Hex Girls?
Yo, I watched that a few weeks ago when I went up to go. I went to Boston to like visit some friends, tour some schools, and that I
It
we watched that
is
movie.
endlessly sad to me that we were both in Boston but at different times.
Yeah, like 2 weeks apart.
Right. It's like neither of us are from Boston. Boston is very far from both of us, and we were both there very shortly after each
Yeah.
other. I also
Yeah.
found out like one of my best friends from high school, his dad was up in Boston while we were there, because he was there for like the Boston Marathon, and we like I commented on his picture when I saw it. But he didn't see my comment until after he had gotten home, and I was like, "No,
Dang.
we could have grabbed coffee, Ken. No." But I haven't seen them in forever. I love their family. But
Scooby
yeah,
Doo one shot.
Scooby-Doo one shot.
Let's do
So,
this.
before we do anything, let me transition to this other page here, because after the conversation we had on the stream, I went into Hero Forge and I made this, and it is this is the Scooby-Doo gang. I'm very proud of it.
That is so awesome.
I'm very pleased with the way it turned out. I have the characters. What I want to do is expand on the basic premise of the adventure that it was sort of tossed around the first time we had this conversation. So the characters are from left to right. Sir Frederick Jones, human paladin, Oath of the Watchers. I gave him proficiency in survival so that he has trap skills.
Traps.
The
Man loves traps.
Then you have Professor Velma Dinkley, gnome cleric of the knowledge domain. I don't feel like I need to go into further detail. That one's self-explanatory. Then you have Lady Daphne Blake, who is a half-elf bard, College of Glamour. I made her a bard. I went back and forth because part of me was like, ooh, maybe she's a warlock or maybe she's a rogue. But I decided on bard because one thing that Daphne always had was like, especially in the cartoons, Daphne always had weird skills for no reason. Like, Daphne was always like, oh yeah, no, I know how to fence. Oh yeah, no, I know how to drive a sports car. Oh yeah, no, I know how to do this thing. I've been bungee jumping. I've been skydiving. Whatever it was,
very
Daphne
much jack
always,
of all trades.
Yeah, a jack of all trades. And so I was like, that's a bard.
And obviously, she's glamorous as fuck.
Absolutely, it's Daphne. Then you have Shaggy Rogers, halfling monk, Way of the Drunken Master. Again, I feel that self-explanatory. And then you have Scooby-Doo, who is going to be a reskinned Knoll stat block, and then is a warlock, Pact of the Great Old One. Because I believe canonically Scooby-Doo is like some form of eldritch horror. And then of course the last one, and the one that Noelle is very upset that I included, Scrappy, who is a kobold barbarian, Path of the Berserker. And I'm very pleased with the way all of them turned out.
I love Scrappy so much.
He is so upsetting. I also the saddle that I put on Scooby is Mystery Machine colored.
That's
and
awesome.
I'm very pleased with the way that it would turn
No,
out.
the way that they look, like the color, like this is incredible. This is fantastic.
I did like I had a picture of them pulled up and was like color matching them for their different colors. Let's see here. Shaggy was actually very tall. Yes, he was. But I feel that that halfling fits Shaggy better than like I could make him like an elf or a like a Goliath or something like that. But like an elf felt too graceful. And halfling, like Shaggy's main thing is that he's always eating. And so I was like, halfling, hobbit, absolutely.
He's also really lucky. Like
He is.
He should
have
die
died
all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
he never does.
But yes. Why is Shaggy Rogers a halfling and not a half ogre, tall and always hungry? Because an ogre is built. They're just tankish. And I don't think Shaggy is about that thick. Like he's a stick boy. And they're muscular. So I don't want Shaggy being an ogre. The lucky also for a halfling is just like it fits very well. 1/8 ogre. I don't want to meet the person that is part ogre and part halfling. That sounds very painful. Shaggy is ready to blow away if there's a strong breeze. Absolutely. He is a scrawny boy, but he is tall. I figured by like he will probably end up riding Scooby around as a mount a lot, which would result in him being just substantially higher than everybody else anyway. So he doesn't need to be a giant. Mem says his poor mother. But yes, I'm very pleased with the way the characters turned out. So the basic story that we had come up with for this adventure, because Scooby-Doo, the monster is never like the monster that they think it is, right? Like a pretty iconic part of Scooby-Doo throughout, especially the cartoons, is like capitalism is the bad guy. And so what we did was we decided that it was going to be a story where the adventurers were called into town due to like a vampire problem. There's some sort of vampire that's been attacking towns. There's all these reports about it, and they get into town and they start investigating it, but they're having a hard time finding anything. And it turns out that it's not a vampire attacking the town. It's the goblin tavern keeper, who is he's not actually a goblin, he's a werebat. And so they're like, werebats are not like evil, they're just sort of chaotic. And so his whole thing is he has leaked this rumor that there's a vampire to draw adventurers to the town, because adventurers are really good for business. And so like the whole town is like terrified of this vampire that's attacking the town, and it keeps bringing adventurers in, but then the adventurers can never find the vampire because it doesn't exist. So from that is the very basic bones. What can we build? What are we feeling?
Garlic knots. The main appetizer at this tavern.
At the tavern, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it needs to be very like the tavern keeper needs to be like very clear. He's not the vampire. How could he be?
How could he be? He's serving garlic knots.
Right. So there's garlic knots. Maybe there's a specialty cocktail that is like has a drop of holy water in it.
Yeah.
That is just like very expensive for no reason.
He pays like there's like the town cleric or whatever, and he pays that cleric to cast sanctuary or whatever the spell is to create holy water. But that costs like 10 gold pieces or whatever, so each drink is just like
it's like hugely expensive for no reason.
It's like a 5 gold piece drink that just has a single drop of holy water in it.
I love that. Mem says, in the meantime, the town is very clear of all other monsters and bandits with the adventurers coming through. That's true. This is a very safe town other than this vampire rumor. BBG Hayward says there's someone trying to take advantage of the Tavern Keeper's rumor. That's interesting. That, like, yes, the Tavern Keeper is the one with this rumor and the doing that stuff, but also, like, wouldn't necessarily be, like, the villain here. They're not necessarily doing anything wrong.
So we need a. So the Tavern Keeper is literally just he started a myth because he's a werebat.
Right.
Well,
And,
if okay,
and I would say, like, there's almost a part of this where, like, in order to make the rumor believable, there would have to be sightings of a vampire. But it would just be like this giant bat creature that people would assume is a vampire in its bat form, right? Which means he must have, like, attacked, maybe he's stolen cattle. Maybe people have gone missing, but maybe he's not the one making the people go missing. Maybe it's this other person that is taking advantage of the Tavern Keeper's rumor that is making these people go missing. But at the same time, it shouldn't be a case of the, like, there actually being a hardcore monster, right? It has to be
you got to be able to pull the mask off.
right. So maybe it's like the mayor of the town, is the villain, and is like, people are going missing, but it's because he's just, like, paying them to move. And there's this vampire issue, and the mayor is just, like, buying up all of the different properties in the town so that he can just sell the whole town.
He's just starting the housing crisis.
Right. Let's see here. BBG Hayward, so maybe it's a local lord trying to kick out someone and is dressing up and harassing people as the vampire to get his goal. Oh, man. That's interesting. But I feel like if he's actively, like, doing vampire-y stuff, right? It would need to be clear that he's not, like, killing people. Like, people don't die in Scooby-Doo. Like, he would need to be doing something else. I like the concept of him basically just, like, buying up him buying all of the, as people are, like, wanting to leave because there's a vampire attacking the town. And him just buying up the property, like, secretly. Like, that feels very Scooby-Doo to me.
He's buying up all the land secretly, and he's planning on selling it to, like, a big corporation that's just going to use it for, like, cheap land because there's a vampire rumor. Who's going to want... So the land's probably very cheap.
It's true. The question then is, what does he want the land for? Because, like, nothing that is, like, nobody would want to move or put something in an area that has a vampire problem.
Yeah.
Sam says he could be knocking people out and putting fang marks on them. That's funny. Maybe he just finds, like people in, like, the people who get arrested, or, like, drunk people stumbling home and stuff, and he just, like, knocks them out, puts, like, fang marks into them, and just leaves them there. Use it to build a highway bypass. Or maybe there's oil. Oh, man. Is oil in D&D not a plot point? I do like that. That's very fun. There's gold, oil, etc. He's just trying to get everybody else out so that he can, like, mine out the entire town.
Yeah.
That's fun.
I like that.
Just a dwarven mayor who's like, there's gold in these hills. I like that. That's very fun.
And the reason he's got to be a bad guy is because the process of getting these natural resources is going to be very bad for the environment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like,
that's why he's a bad guy.
There's no, like, he's gonna have to mine out this entire town, basically. Like, this town has to be destroyed in order for him to get to all of the gold. Now, I like that. The question is, how how did he find out that there was gold, or whatever it is that he's looking for? What resulted in him having this information? Ooh, maybe there's like a pond or something in the middle of the town. And like the town relies heavily on like fishing out of the town, out of the pond. And somebody like found gold in the water.
Just trying to like do
like,
whatever.
Right, like they were just fishing, and they go to the mayor to be like, look what I've, like we could pull all this gold, and he like covers it up.
That's the first vampire victim. He knocks him out.
Yeah.
Puts the marks on.
There's been this rumor about the vampire for a long time, because the like every once in a while some livestock or something will be eaten. And like they've seen this massive bat every once in a while. But that's just the tavern keeper like taking like doing what he needs to.
That's just him going to the. That's just him like flying away. That's just him going home.
Right.
After work.
But then the like the mayor hears about this this stuff, and like the fisherman says that he's going to tell the town that there's like all this gold, and the mayor like freaks out and attacks him, and then has to frame it as like the vampire attacking, and now it's like spun out of control that like there's people are terrified that there's like a vampire attacking, and now he's trying to like, okay, well, if I can get everybody to move, then I could get down into the water to deal with this. Sam says perhaps the mining will pollute the lake that the neighboring town also relies on for water. I like that. Maybe
that's good.
There's a river that flows out of the pond that the next town over like gets its primary water source from that river. I like that a lot. Davy Jones says, is this a recap of Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs? No, Davy Jones, we're working on the Scooby-Doo one-shot. So let's see here. You have to leave breadcrumbs for the Scooby-Doo gang to find. That is important. So we need to figure out what
are the clues?
Right. So there needs to be like something needs to draw them there, which I assume is there's a vampire attacking people in this town. The second thing should be like something has to lead them into the lake or wherever to find out that there's gold there, right? Because they need to find that out. And they need to.
What the mayor could do is he could say, like, a vampire attacked. Like, all the vampire sightings have been by the lake, so they have to close it for investigation, so nobody can go look at the lake to see that there's gold.
Interesting.
And then that's why the mystery gang goes there, because they're
adventurers and they're told that they're not allowed to.
Yeah. Basically, it's like something's going on there.
Right. I like that all the attacks have been down there. Nobody's been attacked in town, but it's close enough to the town that everybody in town is slowly moving out. I like that a lot. That's very good. So then you would have a something. They would have to have somebody that they could talk to, which maybe it's that first fisherman. But like maybe he's locked in jail and has like lost his mind or something like that. But like there needs to be somebody that could like put some suspicion towards somebody. That like this is not what it seems.
Valmo's definitely gonna have to like wipe off the vampire markings. Jinkies, it's not real.
Oh man, that's very
fun.
Fun.
Or it's Shag. It's just two little small pieces of pepperoni, and Shaggy just eats the vampire marks.
Oh man. Um Yeah, BBG Hayward says that's what Velma is for. It could be that like they have these marks, they have these like these scars from the marks, depending on how long ago this happened. That like Velma is able to tell that like that's not a, uh, um, that's not a like that's not a vampire bite. Like maybe they're a little too far apart or something like that. But to give like just enough of like, okay, we're not dealing with a vampire. This isn't a vampire that we're looking for. No, Velma is a knowledge domain cleric. I considered rogue, but I wanted to make sure that they had a healer. But yeah. So I'm into that. That like, oh, maybe I give each of the characters like a custom skill. Of like Velma's can just be like what does she say? Jinkies or whatever.
Yeah, she says jinkies. Shaggy says zoinks. Fred just likes traps. I don't think he says anything.
Fred would definitely just have a traps skill.
Yeah. And
let's see here.
Daphne doesn't have any specific skills. She's just jack of all trades.
No, Jinkies is Velma. Jeepers is Daphne.
Oh, she has Jeepers.
Rut-row for Scooby, Zoinks for Shaggy. That's very fun. I'm looking at catchphrases of Scooby-Doo characters.
Is it the one that where Fred says fuck?
No, it just says Jinkies, Jeepers, Rut-row, Zoinks. Looks like we've got another mystery on our hands for Fred. I like that.
I saw this one comic panel where it was Jeepers, Jinkies, Zoinks, Rut-row, and then Fred just goes fuck.
Yeah.
And then the whole cast, like the rest of the Mr. Gang, like looks at Fred like, this is a children's show.
Yeah. What is Scrappy's special skill? Besides being just an utter dirtball. Let's see. So Daphne, custom
Scrappy
skill.
can throw down.
Edit. It's gonna be Jeepers. Jeepers is what stat? Charisma. It's a charisma-based skill.
I think maybe that Jeepers, Daphne can use her charisma modifier for any skill, however many times, or whatever.
I was just gonna put them as a flat skill that you can roll, and give like each of them expertise in their specific skill.
So she would have expertise in Jeepers.
In Jeepers, yeah. So she can roll Jeepers.
I don't know what Jeepers would be because I don't know what Daphne doesn't have like a shtick.
Yeah.
She's just hot and can do cool tricks.
Jeepers is she can roll to try to do like any random like thing. Like she doesn't have proficiency in land vehicles, but she can roll Jeepers for it. And like see if she's able to do it. It's just a random skill that like it just sort of a catch-all.
Yeah.
Let's see. Velma has Jinkies, which is definitely intelligence, right?
Oh, 100%. That's like an investigation thing.
Yeah. Let's see here. Make sure I spell it right. Name is Jinkies. Jinkies can be any like revelation sort of thing. Like if you're trying to figure out if something is connected to like just sort of a catch-all for like history, arcana, religion, like anything in that neighborhood. I like that a lot. Shaggy has Zoinks. Custom skill. What is Zoinks? Do we feel like?
I feel like it's got to be dexterity based because he can
Okay.
just like he just like dodges everything. Like
Sure.
the amount of times that somebody just tries to punch him and he like ducks down to like grab a sandwich and his like
It's an escape skill.
yeah.
It's a dexterity based skill, expertise, and he can use his reaction to Zoinks, and like just sort of like, yeah, okay, yeah, no, oh, and if he rolls higher than whatever the attack roll was, the attack roll misses.
Yes.
I love that. Scooby Doo has Rutrow. What are we making Rutrow?
Scooby's always the one like triggering a complicated like he always triggers the thing that chases the chase scene. Or the like sense of the chase
BBG
scene.
Hayward says Rutrow is a danger sense, sort of like a Spidey sense. I'm into that. That makes sense. So Rutrow is what stat? Wisdom. There's six of them, so each one should be tied to a different thing.
Scrappy's going to be strength.
Scrappy's gonna be strength.
Or maybe constitution?
Well, I think we make Rutrow a constitution thing of like it's just a gut feeling.
Okay.
So Rutrow is constitution, and can be used to like sense if something is wrong, because then Fred
Fred can be wisdom for like perception.
Fred it has traps, or unless somebody else can come up with something better to call it, or it's let's split up. But it's definitely a wisdom skill, for Fred, because I don't think Fred is a constitution thing, and Scrappy definitely has to be strength. I don't know what Scrappy's would be called though.
Does he have I don't know if he has a catchphrase. I don't remember any specific Scrappy line, but I feel like he would say something along the lines of "Put him up, Buster! Let me at him!" I feel like he says "Let me at him" a lot.
Let me at him and puppy power. I like let me at him. That's very good.
Let me at him. I'll show him what I'm made of. I'm Scrappy Doo. Just like a.
What does let me at him do?
It's like a knockback punch. It's just like he's just so good at punching and kicking shit. Probably, maybe also intimidation.
I like that. I like that all of these are sort of just up in the air what they actually do. Like, you give me, like, what are you trying to do with Jinkies?
It's almost like the hit dice magic.
I like it. It's Sakura says it's a charge with forced movement. I like that. What are we calling Fred's? Because I don't feel like everybody else's is.
It's
like,
something that they would say. He wouldn't just yell. He wouldn't just yell traps. I mean, I don't know. Knowing Fred, he might.
Let's see here.
All right, gang.
Let's split up, gang. Seems to be the consensus of the internet. That's what he says more than anybody else. So let's split up, gang is the name of his skill. What does that do? He can give. Let's see here. It's a wisdom-based skill. And or maybe Daphne's is wisdom, not charisma, and Fred's is charisma.
Hmm. And then what would hmm.
Fred can use Let's Split Up Gang in place of initiative. Where like he just rolls it and then runs off.
That's really funny.
But if he uses it, he also gets to tell everybody else where they should go. I'm down for that. I feel like Fred is not a wisdom-based character. He is a charisma-based character, I feel like. Because he's not necessarily super smart, but he is persuasive.
That's true.
Whereas Daphne is, like, genuinely just intelligent. I mean, she's charismatic, too, but let's make Fred's charisma and Daphne's wisdom instead, because her wisdom is pretty high as well. Okay. I like that. BBG Hayward says, considering the whole point of Scooby is they figured out a fraud, wisdom is okay for multiple characters. I agree, but because there's 6 of them, and there's 6 core stats, I want 1 core stat to each of them. Fred is cunning, though, with his traps. You could say that. You could also say that I have seen multiple episodes of Scooby-Doo where Fred ended up in his own net.
Oh, Fred.
Oh, Fred. So we have Jeepers, Jinkies, Zoinks, Rutro, Let Me At 'Em, and Let's Split Up Gang.
That's a really good array of Scooby-Doo.
I'm very into
skills.
That. I also just think instead of like mystery incorporated, they're mist tree adventuring.
That's funny. I like that.
Not his fault though. Usually it was because Shaggy or Scooby knocked him into his trap. That is also very true. But if he was wiser, he wouldn't have put his trap somewhere where Scooby or Shaggy could knock him in.
After traveling for decades with Scooby and Shaggy.
I will also point out, he has proficiency in survival, which would be his trap skill. He's not bad at traps. It's just that Let's Split Up Gang is not his trap skill. Mem says they need a mystery machine. They definitely have a wagon pulled by Scooby. That is just like a wagon with like wild designs painted on the side of it. A merchant cart that drives itself. That's also very good. Sakura says, I hope this is recorded. This one will not, like the one that I'm coming up with using this will not be. But we might do a one shot of this at some point. Just because this would be fun to run with the hooligans. I would have to find out if that's technically allowed or if it falls under copyright violation. I'm super into this though. This is very, very good. Okay, so they arrive in town from the rumors of this thing.
The vampire.
They start, I would assume they go to the tavern first. Because if you notice in Scooby-Doo, it's always like the first couple of people that they meet when they arrive in town are always the culprits, right?
And they always go somewhere to like make sure they have a place to get settled in.
Right.
Like
So
adventurers go to a tavern.
they go to the tavern. They like get their room. They'll be given like garlic knots. Um, uh, oh my goodness, no! The holy water isn't in a drink. It's an ingredient in his chips platter. That is tortilla chips and holy guacamole. That has holy water as an ingredient in it.
That's good. That's really
Um,
good.
but I that's awesome. So he serves that, and then they get their food, and that they'll settle into their rooms, and then they can start sort of asking around. We need an eclectic group of characters for them to interact with. Of course, there needs to be a few people. There needs to be one person that's like super suspicious that they'll immediately suspect.
You gotta have a dude who looks like Dracula just posted
Yeah.
up at the bar.
Yeah, like there needs to be a guy with like slick back, greasy black
Yep.
hair and like it's a tiefling. It's a tiefling, but he has like little horns and like just sort of like black hair and a goatee and like has like those fangs, and he's just like, I don't know why you're questioning me about all these things. I just got
Definitely,
here.
definitely like. Oh, is he also in a like a traveler?
Maybe
I was gonna
maybe
say.
he's
I was gonna
maybe
say,
he's-
what if he's like the graveyard like groundskeeper?
Yes, yes. He's the creepy guy who maintains the graveyard. Sakura says Vlad. Yes, his name is Vlad. Um,
Yeah,
uh,
he's just a nice guy, but people
He's-
just think he looks like Dracula.
his name is Vlad Gravedirt. And or Vlad Bloodfang. And he is totally not a vampire. They would talk to the mayor. The mayor would tell them that like he's deeply concerned about all of these vampire attacks that have been happening, and he hopes that everyone will quickly leave the area. But like he's the mayor of this town, and like the captain of a ship, he will go down with it. Like so he refuses to leave until the very last townsperson has left, and then he will abandon the town.
Yep, that's perfect.
And the yes, I like that. They'll the first vampire victim. The question is, how many people has the mayor just outright been killing people, or have they been doing like they're just getting rid of people? Because like
In Scooby-Doo,
if there have
nobody
been, if there
dies.
have been multiple attacks, right, there would
Yeah.
be multiple victims.
Mm-hmm.
But
You
I
can't
think
just throw
I
all of
think-
them in jail.
I think there's only the one victim who like survived the attack, and then there's all these other people who have just sort of vanished. And it's actually just that they've moved. But like the rumor in town is that like they've been abducted, right?
But why have they moved?
Because of the vampire attacks. And so like
But like the people who they just actually they were just like vampire.
yeah,
Let's just get
yeah,
up. Like, I'm
we're-
not telling
we're
anybody.
leaving.
Okay.
But or people that got too close. Maybe the mayor has like paid off some people to leave. And
I would personally be okay that the mayor's been killing people. I know nobody dies in Scooby-Doo, but so many people die in
that's true.
D&D.
I'm also okay with, I think the mayor has just like outright killed people. But then you have the question of why. Ooh, when he attacked the first guy, one of the town guards like found them, right?
And he had to run away.
And or like he claims that he like the vampire swooped in and like attacked this guy, and he just barely managed to not get attacked. And then the guard came and the vampire flew away. The bad guy could also sweeten the deal. Here's some cash, get out of town tonight, but don't tell anyone, since I would hate it for everyone came to me and also asked for money to help them leave. That's very good. Like he's paying people off, but he's paying people off in the like under the guise of I'm trying to help. I know you want to get out of here, but I know like you can't just up and leave. Here's some money to help you get like resettled in a new town, but don't tell anyone because like I can't afford to do this for everybody.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good.
I really like that. Friendly villain who presents himself as helpful is very good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that a lot. Bad guy has a few potions of flying to sell the vampire bit. He could. Otherwise, there is a werebat that lives in town. Like if it comes right down to it, he's gonna try and pin this on the tavern keeper, right? Like he has. Oh, he knows. He knows that the tavern keeper is a werebat, and has like intent and like because the tavern keeper started this rumor, to intentionally draw adventurers to town, but it's gotten way out of control and people are disappearing, and he's like, that's not me. So the tavern keeper would have to be like very paranoid about like being caught. I like that a lot. So yes, I'm into all of that. Anything else you can think of to add into this story?
The mayor, I really like the idea that so like the gang comes in and talks to the bar person, the werebat, and then eventually talks to the mayor, and then the mayor could start to throw suspicion on the werebat, being like, listen, a lot of this vampire stuff happened once the vampire protected and try to pin it on the bar guy.
Well, maybe the bar is down by the lake as well.
Yeah, that's good.
That like it's the only building down there. Like there's maybe a dock or two for fishing off of, but like the tavern's the only thing down there. It's weird that all of the attacks happen like down that way. Nobody goes down there except for the tavern.
That's good.
And then there's like farms in the surrounding area, but the farms have slowly cleared out as like the livestock has gone missing and the stuff like that. But like he could play up the like the livestock has gone missing from specifically from towns that or from farms that have been evacuated, because they're not there to say that the tavern keeper actually buys that livestock. Like he always pays for it. He always makes sure like he's not stealing anything. He pays these farms for their livestock, presumably for the tavern. And then,
like for food.
Yeah. And then like he'll pick them up at night when the tavern is gone. But people see these like this form of like some massive creature that like steals things in the night. That's fun.
That's really good.
Potion of polymorph to become a bat in front of a witness. I think the mayor should have like illusion magic. That because like he can't actually like he can't be powerful enough that like he would have things like polymorph and stuff like that. And he can't be rich enough to afford to buy crazy powerful potions like that. Because this is his get rich quick thing, is like getting everybody to leave town so that he can get the gold out of the bottom of the lake here. Oh, maybe there's a shipwreck. Maybe there's a pirate ship that sunk in the lake, that it had like sailed up the channel to this lake and it had sunk here. Or like an old cave that has like old pirate treasure or something like that. But if that's the case, he could probably get that out without like destroying the lake.
Yeah,
I think the natural like he has to mine in the lake to get the gold works. I
think that's the best option.
Yeah. Because that'll destroy like the ecosystem of the lake mining down there.
Yeah.
I'm into that. So the question is the mayor a dwarf who like would be like really into the like gold and mining and stuff, or is a dwarf too like into that? Like, would a dwarf be somebody who like would know what he was doing and could do it correctly? Maybe it's a triton, or a turtle that could like breathe underwater, or hold its breath long enough that it could go down there and mine. But it's not a it's not
I
like
like
it doesn't
turtle.
know what it's doing. I like turtle as well.
I like turtle. I think
old
turtle is
turtle
really
mare
good.
that's been here since the town was founded.
Yeah.
And like I saw this town built and I won't leave it. Well, there's still people here to protect. Like yeah, the dwarf does feel more likely to like just be honest about it. And the dwarf also feels like a dwarf would know how to mine down under the lake and get the stuff out without just like going down into the lake and ruining the lake. I like that. Would one of those destroy an aquatic environment? I mean, people destroy land environment, so yes. Like if the turtle lives in the town, he doesn't care super much about the lake. He doesn't live in the lake. If he can get all that gold out from the bottom of the lake and then like get out of there, that seems much that seems greed driven enough to me, to justify. I love this. This is very good. There's enough going on that a group of adventurers can sort of wander around and like explore and still come to like a good conclusion of like, okay, here's what's happened. And there's not so much that it's going to be overwhelming to the players of like this elaborate mystery that they have to unravel.
Yeah, I feel like this it could be it's going to be if it's a one session thing, it's going to be a long session.
Sure.
I think it could be like maybe 2 or 3 sessions because sometimes players are dumb.
It's true. But if you don't give them like too many people to interact with and like there's only so many locations that they can go to, like they're not going to a second town or anything like that. This is just a one town adventure. Like you've pulled in and you're here to solve this adventure. I feel like you could do it in 3 to 4 hours. Depending on how quickly, especially if you're not junking it up with like combat. If this is almost exclusively roleplay until you fight like the boss at the end,
which is going to be the mayor,
which will be the turtle, and maybe is he a wizard, or maybe like an eldritch knight or something like that. That could be good. Mysteries are hard to do in a one shot, but can get overblown if you put way too much into it. I agree, but I feel like keeping it in the Scooby-Doo vein, and also like they all have these skills that they can roll that are just like, we're stuck, move the plot forward, I roll jeepers. Like I feel like that works really well. Like if at any point they're like, we're out of clues, Fred rolls let's split up gang. If he rolls well, people find stuff. Like it's basically a group investigation check, but it's just Fred rolling. Or like Velma can come to an epiphany by rolling jeepers, to if they're stuck in a situation. Putting these skills where they have almost like an escape room, like help me thing, where they're still piecing together the thing, but if they need help, it's there. Because it's at the end of the day, the goal of the one shot is for them to solve it. I love that.
It's also a Scooby-Doo one shot. It's not going to be taken like
super
very
seriously.
It's for fun.
And also giving them Scooby-Doo characters, they're probably not going to be like, we interrogate the shopkeeper. Like, they're going to do Scooby-Doo stuff. I like that a lot. Or if you get a certain bunch of hooligans to play in a mansion. If you get a bunch of hooligans together for a murder mystery, they tend to do poorly, is what I've learned.
Listen, listen.
Oh man. Thank you everybody for coming out today. Always a pleasure. We will be back Monday morning for more nonsense. We also will be back Monday night for more Butter Nights for Butter Nights episode 2. We are tossing around a few ideas. I think we have something that's gonna be just real full of nonsense for you guys. If you want to see the hooligans all sort of flexing their improv, come out Monday night where I think it's gonna be fun. And then the following Monday we'll have Roddie's Rascals for just more chaos. And I'm looking forward to that so much. I'm gonna play in that game. I think I'm gonna get a chance to play. So I'm excited. Thank you to everybody who came out. It has been an absolute pleasure. If you don't currently, here are all of our socials. You can follow us for more updates and stuff like that. If you haven't joined our Discord, make sure you do that as well. And make sure you check out 1985 Games. And Alchemy. Thank you everybody for coming out. We will see you on Monday. Until then, have a great weekend. Enjoy the nonsense. Make sure that you go out and do something ridiculous this weekend. And we'll see you then. Have a great one.